This is Mike Ward with Live Explore Real Estate in Petaluma. I'm here with Mike Beebe, Regional Sales Manager of the West and Midwest for Purdue Farms, not to be confused with Purdue Pharma. And this is the Ward Report. Hey, buddy.
Good morning.
Do you get confused with Purdue Pharma, which is like public enemy number one? You know what Purdue Pharma is?
Yeah.
The ones who started the opioid crisis?
No, I don't get confused with that. We get confused because Purdue, Petaluma Poultry.
Yeah.
That whole like how is it connected thing, because we went through an acquisition in 2011, so people get confused about that.
Yeah.
But I need to make my first. I already need to like correct you on something.
What?
So vice president of sales.
Oh, what did I say? Regional manager?
Regional sales manager.
God, VP has such a better ring,
I was there.
too.
Dude, I was there. I did it, but that was like 15 years ago.
Hey, dude, you earn your stripes. You earn your stripes.
I'm just throwing it out there.
All right. We're doing some true and falses to start this bad boy out. In high school, you were once one of the most affable butchers in Sonoma County. Was it high school or was it just after high school?
It was just after.
What, first year college? Did you go to school? Did you go to college?
A couple years at the JC. But
Yeah.
No.
So 18 years old?
19.
19 years old.
So I would say yes, but it wasn't in high school. Yes.
So false.
False.
False yet true.
False yet true.
Okay. Number two, if you could pick any workout movement to do daily, it was the only one you could do, it would definitely be burpees. Don't lie on this. The faces you used to make, the faces you used to make in the gym, when we would do an extended amount of burpees, you would look at me with such disappointment, not in yourself, in me. Like you would literally look over the gym at me and be like, why? Why, man?
So the interesting thing is I've actually grown to like them. I've
Yeah,
grown
great
to like love the things that
That you hate.
Yeah, that I hate.
Yeah.
Because I know that it's good for me.
Same with me. Overhead squat was my absolute weakness. I'll never forget the first competition I ever did. It was 5 movements of 20 reps. The last movement was overhead squats. I had shoulder mobility issues.
Yeah, I remember.
So when I would get it up, when I first started, when I would squat down, it would shift forward because my shoulder just sucked.
I remember you were always correcting me. I was always shifting forward, whether we were doing front squats, back squats, overhead squats.
You lean your torso
I'd
over.
always lean my torso.
Yeah.
You're like, dude, look up.
Look up.
Chest up.
Well, dude, so this competition, this is the last workout. I'm in the top 3. And I buzz through the first 80 movements and I'm dominating. And then I get to the last thing, I get it up and it takes me 5 minutes. And everyone passes me and I miss the podium. And it's one of the more embarrassing moments of my life. And I went and all I did was work on overhead squats for a year and a half until it became one of my favorite movements, right? All right. You have a deep love connection with whiteboards and lists.
Absolutely.
So do I.
100%.
Why?
I started it. I can't even remember when I started it, but it was just something it's something tangible. I'm also like, I like written.
I do
right?
too.
Like I have a written, everything I do is in these black books, right? I have literally hundreds of these that I use, but I like to lay things out and I like to be able to cross.
Like the tactile nature of it, touching of it, crossing. Yeah.
I even have like an actual like calendar. Like I've got the old like the monthly calendar, and I write things, and I'm constantly. Now I'll also put that stuff in my Outlook calendar and things like that. But like
to get buzzed.
And I save them. We just purged the garage. I had notebooks from like 2009.
Yeah.
I had calendars from 2007. That's when I got really into my career, is when I started having the written calendars.
Yeah. I'll one up you on that. I have notes from junior high school still. Oh my God. I have boxes of notes.
Okay, you win.
In my attic. And if I one day I'm going to come in and just read them for an hour because they are phenomenal. It's literally me talking to the girl I'm dating for 2 weeks saying, hey, me and you are going to go to UCLA. I'm going to get a full ride as a point guard. the lack of connection to reality at that point, first of all, love, there was zero love, right? Yeah. Second of all, no, you're not. You're not going to UCLA as a point guard. Yeah. But this was like every one of them. There's so much fun to go back and read though. So those calendars, like what I'm saying is, it's nice to go back and kind of look at like, what was I doing 15 years ago?
Yeah.
What was my day like? Yeah. What is it like now? Like that's fun for me.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, we're both obsessed. Last one, you've created one of the most sought after honey sriracha smoked chicken wings west of the Mississippi.
True.
Absolutely true. Best chicken wing I've ever had in my life. Hands down. Has anyone else said that? to you?
Yeah, I hear that with some chicken wings. I hear that with my beef ribs. I do a really good job on beef ribs on my Traeger.
And that's rare. Not a lot of people cook beef ribs.
I'm a huge foodie. I love cooking. I've been like this since I was a little kid. My grandma tells stories about me being like 4 years old in the kitchen, helping her make pie crust.
Yeah.
And so yeah, huge foodie. Love the Traeger. But yeah, the chicken wings are. Chicken wings, I've heard that. I also have a cookie recipe that I make during the holidays that people say are
probably good. I would assume.
Yeah.
But that's sriracha wing. And I'm a wing guy.
Yeah.
If they're on a menu, I'm buying them at restaurants, wherever they are. And that is hands down because it's such a light sauce, right? It's not like this dripping wing. It's got a little spice. It's got a little sweet. There's smoke.
Sweet and savory.
You've sent me the recipe twice. I've never tried making them. I'm going to ask you for it again after this. I won't make it again.
You know what's funny? There is no recipe. I literally...
That's what she said.
I wing it. No pun intended.
Yeah,
I wing it. I'm like, I know that there's honey in there. I know there's sriracha in there. I know there's soy sauce in there. I know there's vinegar in there. And I just kind of play around with it. And I get the sauce and I taste it. And I'm like... okay, this needs a little bit more sriracha, or shit, I went a little bit too spicy. This needs a little bit more honey. So no, it just I just roll with it.
You brought it to a party once, and I literally sat at that table or rotated around that table for like an hour. I didn't feel bad. I didn't care. It was so good.
Yeah.
All right, you made it to the bonus questions, which everyone does. You are shipwrecked on an island with a record player powered by the sun. You only get one vinyl record for eternity. What is that album and why?
So this is a really difficult question for me because
for everyone.
If you guys were to see my Spotify, you'd be like, what is wrong with this guy? Like he
just all over the map.
All over the map.
Yeah,
I mean, from like '90s country to newer country to like rap to like old school like gangster rap to California reggae. This morning on the drive-in, I was listening to. Hardy live at the Red Rocks. So I just had the music blasting, was just jamming. I love music.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it. Love going to concerts. So really difficult question. I would say Morgan Wallen's Dangerous album.
Which I know Morgan Wallen. I've listened to some of his stuff. I don't know it.
So the Dangerous album is it was his double album.
The long one.
It was the one that came out that like he really made it big.
Yeah.
And I thought about this last night. We were kind of looking through things. I'm like, you know what? It's got like party songs. Like if you just want to like party, you want to crank something up. If you want to just jam, it's got those. It's got Heartache. It's got Love.
Does it have the song Chasing on it? Chasing You?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a great song.
Yeah. It's got all of those. And then one of my favorite songs, Cover Me Up, is on there. It's
Jason Isbell cover? Does he cover Jason Isbell? Who wrote that? Cover Me Up. Know You're Enough to Use Me for Good. Is that the main chorus?
Yeah.
That's a Jason Isbell song. I almost picked that for my wedding song.
So
that was that close for my wedding song.
Interesting.
That was top 3.
So interestingly enough, that is like Sam, my wife, and I. Like that is our song.
That is
great
song.
We've had several moments where things happen where that song was on, and it was like that is our song. When her and I think about it, it's like that's the song.
I play with a couple guys a couple times a month, and we cover that song. It's me and another guy singing it. Like he'll sing the main part of it, then I'll come in on the chorus because it's such a powerful chorus.
Yeah.
And it needs like this like strong harmony to it. But that's a great song. It's a great song. The only reason I backed off it for the wedding song is there's a verse about him being a drug addict. And it was like, dude, that's not going to go with the crowd.
Yeah. But that album I can listen to it from the first song to the last song.
Yeah.
And just listen all the way through.
Totally.
Like there's not many albums that I feel like that. Like there's some albums where you're like, there's 3 or 4 good songs. But to have 4, and it's a double album, so I don't even know, there's like 40 something songs on there. So
it's a tough question. It's a tough question. I go back and forth. That used to be my first date question.
Really?
Yeah. That was one of the first questions I asked on a first date. Especially
were you interviewing them?
Yeah, I kind of was in San Diego. That was like one of my go-to. Well, I wasn't interviewing, but it was like I love music.
Yeah.
Like, it is such a big part of my life.
Yeah.
And back then, especially when I didn't have kids, my life wasn't so crazy, I would go to live shows almost every week.
Yeah.
And so it was a question to see where they came from. And if it was just like a surface topical pop answer, it was like, okay, like I'm not going to vibe with you.
Yeah.
I know it's weird.
Yeah. No,
but if they
true.
really thought about it, they're like, no, like this and this is why. It's like, okay, like you're on a different level.
Yeah.
Like from
I didn't realize you're playing. You play your band.
I do. I mean, I'm not that great, but I've played my whole life. I've played probably since I learned in high school, but I really like went strong freshman year in college. So 96.
What was your first instrument? Guitar?
Guitar.
Okay.
No, not true. Violin as a kid.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Hated it. 5 years old, my parents started me on violin. I probably played for 3 years, but it gave me a little bass to figure out the strings.
Yeah.
And then guitar. And then now you can play a little mandolin, little banjo, mainly guitar. But I play with a guy who plays the keys, who's really good, really talented. Then another guy who plays guitar, who's really talented. I'm definitely the I'm the redheaded stepchild of the band, but it's fun to play with.
The reason why I ask is, so my 7, almost 8-year-old daughter for Christmas this year from Santa Claus, she wanted a guitar, an acoustic guitar. So we got her a really nice acoustic guitar.
Steel or
Santa
nylon string?
Did. Half steel, half nylon. So your bigger chords.
Yeah.
And so we got it for her, and right after Christmas, I said, I've always wanted to learn the guitar.
Yeah.
I said, what better way to bond with this, with this little girl.
Yeah.
And so I went out. We literally went down to the store. I got a Martin. I don't know what it is. It's a Martin guitar.
Oh, it's a nice guitar.
It's a nice guitar.
It's like it took me like 15 to 20 years to buy my first Martin.
It's not like the $3,000, $5,000.
No, but still it's an
entry level.
It's a really nice guitar.
And so we're taking lessons.
Yeah.
And it's really fucking hard.
It's really hard.
It is really hard.
Here's my suggestion of learning the guitar, and I say this to everyone, and it's super simple. Pick 2 of your favorite songs that have a simple chord progression and just get obsessed with them. Because I learned guitar through other artists, right? I became obsessed with certain artists in my late teens, early 20s, and I never had lessons. I just learned through those songs, and then I started to create my own style and like what I liked.
So self-taught.
Yeah. I had one lesson in high school. And then I went and I just started to learn songs that I like. And then I learned I picked up one artist who was more complicated in the way he played. So I started learning G can be played all the way up the neck, right? Totally. There's like 4, probably more ways to play a G. Yeah. So then you learn where all those Gs are. Then you start to change sound. Yeah. So it was a long process, but I pick it up every day.
Yeah.
We have one upstairs now. When they were babies, I couldn't have it up there because they're expensive guitars and it'd be destroyed. Yeah. But now it's back up, so I pick it up. My boys are playing piano, but they're starting to get over that. So they've taken lessons the last 7 months, 6 months. And so I'm hoping that they get into guitar. My dream is to have a band.
So you're going to say it's a band with your sons?
They sing songs now because I just play my music.
Yeah.
I'm not a kid playing music in the car. I never have been. Crazy Frog every once in a while for my youngest.
Yeah.
But they'll sing songs now and choruses that I like, and I, in my mind, am just envisioning us harmonizing those songs together, in downstairs. And that's a dream. We'll see if it happens.
Well, Avery, she's almost 8, and the lessons are an hour long.
That's long.
It is, and it's tough to keep her engaged for that full hour.
Yeah, I bet
she's kind of all over the place, but she's getting it, and she's got good rhythm already, and so it's really cool. I actually think she's progressing better than I am. So I'm but part of it is I'm and the guy that's teaching us, he's like, when was the last time you picked up the guitar? And I'm like, 2 weeks ago when we had a lesson. He's like, yeah, it's not going to work.
No, you got to practice.
You got to pick it up. You got to practice.
You got to get your fingers.
And so that's what I'm working on. I'm the calluses on my fingers right now.
That's the big thing.
That's what I'm working on right now.
Yeah, because when it stops hurting and being sore, then it becomes way easier.
Yeah.
All right, you are on a 30-day juice cleanse. Or you're going on a 30-day juice cleanse. Probably wouldn't happen. What is the last meal you eat before it starts?
Dude, this is so easy.
You could pull from anywhere, too.
This is easy. It's hands down the easiest question. It's pepperoni pizza. It's pepperoni pizza.
From where? What's your top 3?
So I like Acre.
Acre's good.
I like Pizzeria up in.
I'm good friends with her, right? I went to high school with her brother, and Yeah. If you're ever in there,
drop your name.
Drop my name. Okay. I've known her my entire life. She's an amazing woman.
Awesome, and she's an awesome chef, and she came up with a really good recipe. So those are kind of top 2.
Do you do the dill ranch at Acre? Because that's the best ranch I've ever had in my life.
Yes, I am a ranch. I don't eat pizza without ranch.
Okay,
like
good.
if there's not ranch, I'm like, what?
Yeah.
What's this bullshit?
And you go pepperoni at Pizzeria too, because she has some more exotic.
No, we'll do different ones, but
Yeah.
I'm talking. I mean, I like all of their. Same with Acre. I like all their pizzas. But if it was my last meal, it's pepperoni pizza.
Yeah, it's such a good
hands
one.
down. But here's the thing: like I've been known to slum it. I don't discriminate. I'll do Little Caesars sometimes. I'll do Domino's sometimes. Like
Yeah.
you know, Costco, slice of Costco pizza.
You're a survivor.
I don't discriminate.
No.
I don't discriminate.
Yeah. Do you watch Dave Portnoy's pizza reviews on YouTube?
I love them.
I'm obsessed with them.
Love them.
I watch them every morning.
Oh my God.
I mean, dude, it's just such a microcosm of society. Like the people that come into it, like who he helps out, like just his personality. I really enjoy those. All right, pepperoni pizza. You can live without working in any place in the world for 6 months.
Yeah.
Where is it and why?
You know, this is another somewhat difficult one. I've got two places that are very near and dear to me. One is Lake Tahoe, and one is Hawaii. But I think I lean more towards Tahoe on this one.
What part of Tahoe?
North Shore,
Okay.
Truckee, Kings Beach, Incline Village, those areas. I was very fortunate. I grew up. My grandparents at the time had a place up there, so I went up there. Winters, summers, and I have some of my like best memories are being a little kid and like going down to Sand Harbor Beach and like trying to get the crawdads with like a piece of turkey for my sandwich, and stuff like that. So, you know, and I'm trying to like pass that tradition on to my kids now. So like one of my, let's say 3-year plan is I'd love to have a house in cabin in Tahoe. I'm very simple at this point in my life. Like a lot of things have changed. I am like, give me a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom, 900 square foot in Tahoe. Yeah. And I want to be able to kind of give that to my kids. And I'm lucky I can work from pretty much anywhere. So the day the kids get out of school and for the summer, we go up there. I'll work from up there. If I have to fly out for business meetings, I can fly out of Reno Tahoe Airport. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's Tahoe. It's Tahoe and yeah.
Tahoe's a special place. It has gotten crowded over the years, but it still has its beauty, and you can still find places that aren't, and you can drive around the lake and find, beaches that aren't crowded. So I do love it as well. We have a little place up in the mountains that we go to first, but I like to get to Tahoe once a year or try to, because there's something different about that area.
So it's interesting. So Sand Harbor, that's where I have a lot of memories as a kid, and it was never busy.
No, me either as a kid.
We just pull in. You can pull in at 11 o'clock in the morning, and you're like, find a parking spot.
It's become a worldwide destination.
It's insane. And so we were actually up there. I think we've been up 5 or 6 times this year, and but we just do it. We're like, we know it's gonna be difficult. But we're up at 5 o'clock in the morning. We're out of the cabin at like 5:36. We are in line to get into Sand Harbor by like 6:37. And we get there and we set up our canopy. We get right on the water. We pick our spot. We've got our spot, and then you're there all day.
Sounds like a professional operation. Really,
it is. You've got to have your shit together, or you're going to show up and be like, "Oh, I guess I'm not going to the beach today."
I know. I've heard there are even certain beaches are denying people from going down. You have to have a permit now on certain beaches, so it's definitely
Sand Harbor's going that way.
Are they going that way?
Yep. Yeah.
All right, let's get into it. Meat and potatoes. Your introduction to meat, I'm assuming, was you as a butcher in youth at 18, 19, whenever you started that job.
Yeah.
What did that teach you? How did that lay a foundation, for this trajectory that you've taken to be the vice president, not the regional manager, of a meat company? So
I think you almost got to go backwards a little bit. So I cut meat from like 19 to 23.
Okay.
But if you back up a little bit, I'll tell a story. So 1997, 1998, I'd go grocery shopping with my mom. And this was at the old Albertsons. It's now Trader Joe's. So it was Albertsons and it was Apple Market. Now it's Trader Joe's. Eastside Petaluma. And she'd take me grocery shopping with her on the weekends. And I was probably about 15 years old. And she says, "Hey, go introduce yourself to the manager." And I said, "Okay, I'll walk up." I still remember her name. Her name is Dixie. And so I walk up to Dixie. "Hi, I'm Mike Beebe. I would love to work here."
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, my mom was like, it was kind of forced.
Yeah.
So, and I actually had a great relationship with her for a long time, but so I wasn't old enough. I was 15. So she's like, "Hey, when you get your work permit, come back." So, every weekend or two I'd walk in and go back up there. My mom's like, "Go talk to her. Go say hi." So I did, and I built a relationship before I even had the job there. I was able to build a relationship with her. So that's where it started. So I've been in the retail grocery kind of meat industry since I was 15 years old. And I worked through high school at that store, and I started getting into the meat department. I was probably a junior in high school at that point is when I started getting into the meat department. And anybody that hears this that is old school peddling that remembers Apple Market used to do an outside barbecue.
My wife remembers this.
Does Lindsay remember?
Yeah. She's brought it up.
Okay, so I was in charge. Like I would go in the weeks and during the week, and I would help the meat guys prep for the weekend, and then they would put me out there, and I'm like 16 years old, 17 years old maybe, and I'm out there barbecuing tri-tips and ribs. And
so you did start in high school.
I wasn't technically in the meat.
Butcher.
I mean, I wasn't butchering. I didn't have a knife
though.
in my hand. I wasn't cutting, but yes, I was in, and so that was kind of like that was my like entry point into the meat department. And I always liked the meat guys, like they're old crusty butchers out there smoking cigarettes nonstop, drinking coffee.
I still talk to him every time I'm in for almost an hour.
And it's becoming less. But back then it was an art form.
Yeah.
It was a like craft. Like you were either really good at it or you weren't, and you could tell the difference between the two. And so, got to know the guys, and they liked me. And so, I was in high school, and I was football, track, baseball. So I'd go from school to whatever sport I was playing, and then I would go in and I would clean the shop, and I would prep for the barbecues for the weekend stuff. So I got into the meat department pretty early. And I just loved it. There was something about it. I've always been a foodie. At one point in high school, I wanted to go to culinary school. I was like, I'm going to be a chef. Then I realized they don't make that much money, and you work every holiday and weekend, and you most likely become an alcoholic.
Sure.
Sorry, I'm generalizing for
no. I mean, it's a hard route.
So yeah, that was kind of my entry point into the meat side, and then. I was probably about 19 years old, and I was, kind of floundering. I was going to the JC. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And my brother-in-law at the time was a butcher for Safeway. And he's like, hey, do you want to do this? Like, I can get you in the apprenticeship program. I'm like, okay. I'm like, yeah, that sounds pretty good. And, he talked to me about what they made. And at the time, I'm like, oh, shit, butchers make pretty good money. Like, I'm 19 years old, and I think I was making, I don't even 20 something an hour, $20 an hour.
Full
maybe.
benefits, I'm sure.
Full benefits. Yeah. And so, that was kind of the allure. So I got in, and I went through the apprenticeship program, and I actually left Safeway and went. I had a family friend that bought, Scotty's Market in Terra Linda. Family friend owns that shop, and so he called me up. He's like, "Hey, I'm looking for somebody to."
Is that Brian Lee? Owns it now?
Well, it's
or
Brian.
They sell it?
They sell. The Lee family does.
Yeah,
So Dale Lee.
Yeah,
exactly.
I know Brian.
Yeah, that's how. That's how when Brian started CrossFitting with us. I'm like, hey, I've known you since you were like.
That's a legendary market in Marin. Like everyone knows Scotty's.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
And so I ran that meat department for about maybe two or 3 years, maybe. I kind of can't really remember the time, but and I carried Petaluma Poultry chicken. And so I got to know my sales rep, and I got to know the product. And one day my sales rep comes in. He's like, hey, I got a promotion. He's like, you'd be a great fit for, I got a promotion. I need to backfill my position. Like, you'd be a great fit for it. I'm like, okay. So I interviewed. This was like the end of 2006, like November, December 2006. And so went and interviewed, got hired. They immediately fell in love with me. They're like, oh, this is great. Like, you'd be a great fit. And so I think it was like January 3rd, 2007 was my first day with Petaluma Poultry. And
so go back for 1 second before we go there. In those early years, right? You barbecuing, being in front of the store, you being behind the counter, dealing with customers. What did you learn? Like, not just about the product, right? What did you pick up? What qualities did you pick up that are helping you still today?
It's honestly, it's sales, it's customer service, it's people.
Because that's a communication job.
It's 100%.
Yeah.
It's 100%. And it's interesting. I talk to my wife about it all the time. You walk in stores now, whether it's a grocery store or Target, and the person that's checking you out or bagging your groceries, they don't look in your eye. They don't talk to you. It's just different now. And it's honestly, it's frustrating for me. And it gives me a lot of thoughts on how I want to raise my kids. But I came up through that when it was very strict. My job as a courtesy clerk at 15 years old, it was to bag your groceries. They taught me. I had to go through bagging school, how to bag your groceries. And it was look the person in the eye. How was your day?
Eggs on the bottom.
Yeah, eggs on the bottom. Eggs on the bottom. Did you find everything okay? Can I help you out to your car? Oh, what do you have going on today? That small talk. But that's sales. Mm-hmm. You're always selling. Everybody's kind of always selling.
Yeah.
But that's where I really, I think I learned some of that stuff, and it was really easy. So then when I transitioned into, the kind of vendor, supplier side of things, it was a very natural progression for me.
Yeah. And what's interesting about butchers too, even today, right? Petaluma Market's where I buy 90% of our meat.
Yep.
I know more about those guys behind the counter than I know about any other person I pass. Bank, other stores, whatever, wherever. I am on a deep level with probably 4 or 5 of those, really deep. There's moments where I stay in there for 20 minutes talking to those guys and about their families and stuff like that. So there is there's something about that butcher department that's different. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's because it takes 5 minutes to get what you want. Sometimes you have to sit there so you talk. I don't know what it is about that industry, but you connect with them.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Totally. And I think it's also too, the butchers, at least for me when I was, you get to know your clientele.
Yeah.
Right. So you do. I made it my goal to know what the people were looking for. So I kind of knew, hey, Mike Ward just walked in. He wants, 3 2-inch cut ribeyes because he's going ham this weekend.
Center cut.
There you go.
So that's the thing too that I've realized, right? When you build relationships with those guys,
oh yeah,
not all meat is created the same, right? On a cut, and you learn real quick. And when they get to know you, they're lifting up that top layer and grabbing one from underneath, which I always thought I never picked that up for years. Yeah. And then it's a huge advantage as a customer.
It really
or saving stuff for you, or doing special orders for you.
Totally.
I love grass fed. The sliced short ribs, the Korean style. Mm-hmm. I love those. And they only get so much grass fed of it. So they'll save them in the back for me. They'll give me a call. I mean, there's a relationship component.
Yeah.
And that, kind of transfers easily into the next question of based on that job and when you started to go into sales, what qualities did you kind of naturally possess? And what qualities did you have to work on once you got to that next level to create success?
Yeah. So I think when I came in 2007, I was 24 years old. I had a really, really good work ethic, right? I got that from my mom. I got that from my dad. I got that from other family members.
What does that mean when you say good work ethic? Just the effort you're putting into everything?
It was, exactly.
The hours?
Exactly. Hard work. You're there to do a job. But yeah, exactly. So I had a strong work ethic. I had the people skills. I was competitive too. And I think that's something in sales that is, it's important. So I had this competitiveness to me. And it wasn't ever I wanted somebody else to fail. I wanted everybody to be successful. I just wanted to be the guy on the top.
You just want to be a little bit more.
I just wanted to be the fucking best.
Yeah.
And I had a really good group of people at the time, and they were all ex-butchers. So we kind of built this, Petaluma Poultry at the time, we built this really cool team of salespeople, and we were all ex-butchers, and we were all foodies, and we all loved to cook, and we all, so it was we all had just so much in common. But yeah, I always just kind of want to edge them out. The other quality that I had and I still have today is, and it's funny, I talk to my therapist about this all the time. I don't know if I had a chip on my shoulder or if I was just young and dumb and naive, but I was always the guy that said yes. I was always the guy that raised my hand, right? So I came into the organization and I was calling on Petaluma Market, Big John's up in Healdsburg, Oliver's Markets, small 1, 2, 3, 4 chains. That's what I did for the first year. And then it was hey, we need somebody to call on Molly Stone's, right? Okay, well, Molly Stone's is 10 stores and Draeger's and Lenardi's and these bigger chains. So it went from like small stores to like medium stores. But I was the guy that raised my hand. They're like, oh, we need somebody to jump in here. I'll raise my hand. Oh, we need somebody to do this. I'll raise my hand. And by 20, so I pretty much got a promotion every year. Like every year I promoted. So I was like, came in as like a key account manager and then went to like a regional sales manager and then like a national account manager and then director of sales. But it was because I always wanted more. Like I was never, and again, I talked to my therapist so much about this. It was like, I was never content. I was never okay with just being okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And it's a good question because I have a similar trait in me, and it's positive and negative, right?
Totally.
Like I'm never satisfied.
Totally.
And it can be negative, right? You got to live in the moment sometimes. Do you celebrate your successes now?
Absolutely.
You do? Because it's really hard for me to do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I celebrate the wins, and I put myself in, part of that raising my hand and saying, yes, I'm going to do this, or yes, I want to do this. I was scared shitless. So it was like this weird double-edged sword where I'm like, I want to be better, but I'm scared.
So you're forcing yourself.
I'm forcing myself.
Yeah,
and I still, to this day, I have to force myself into situations that are uncomfortable for me. As we talked about last night, this being on this podcast, this is different for me. But I force myself. I have this love-hate relationship with it. But what I noticed was when I put myself out there and when I asked for more, I was successful. I was scared. But I was successful, and then I could celebrate those wins, right? Yeah. Like I could see, like, okay, you were scared, but you did it, right? And it put me in a really good position. I mean, there was a point where I was 26, 27 years old, and at the time we were building an organic chicken program with Costco, which ended up being it's bigger now, but it was a $500 million a year program for us. And I was at the tip of the spear. I'm 27 years old, sitting in Costco's office in Issaquah, Washington, talking to not the CEO, but the guy right down. His name is Jeff Lyons. I'm presenting, and I have my CEO, my VP of sales, my SVP, but I'm they're putting me on the spot. Talk about uncomfortable and scared. But then I did it, and then I proved to myself that I could do it. And then after I had this kind of this internal kind of postmortem where I'm like, dude, you did it. Like you got through that. Like you can do hard shit.
100%. And I mean, those are the moments, that uncomfortable aspect, especially as you're coming up in the ranks.
Totally.
Failure and being uncomfortable, that's where all the magic happens.
Totally.
And the prep that goes into it, right? When I get uncomfortable, I prep more.
Oh, 100%.
Because I'm a front loader. I don't ever want to have any base that's not covered. So even if I don't use that prep, I've learned in that moment, right?
Totally.
So, I mean, I think those moments, and I think that is a component, like when I talk about my kids, and you've got kids as well, is I want to get them comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Totally.
Whatever it is, physically, mentally. My oldest is already there. He's beyond his years. My youngest does not like to fail. So it's going to be, two different ways of raising kids. But I mean, what an important factor. I feel, and I know every older generation says this about the younger generations, but there is something in the younger generations where there isn't, they don't want to fail. And I think there's something tied in with social media and everything being so public.
100%.
When I could fail as a kid,
100%.
no one knew about it.
100%.
Now everyone knows your failures. So I hope that switches back because you have to.
Here's my, we're gonna into like parenting philosophy
That's
at some
fine.
point today,
Yeah.
but it's on us.
Yeah.
It's on us as fathers and as parents to teach these kids. And I have this I struggle with this because I see kids that are, and I shouldn't say kids, teenagers or even early 20s. And a lot of these, and I'm overgeneralizing, right? I know there's a lot of really good kids out there that are that age, but I see some of them that don't have just basic social skills.
Yeah.
Right. And I struggle with that because I know their parents grew up like me. They grew up in the 80s, man. Like I grew up in the 80s. Like it way different in the 80s. We can all agree with that than it is now. But I struggle. I'm like, wait a second. You grew up in the 80s. You were raised this way, but now you're raising your child a completely different way. And I hate to say it is. It's laziness. Yeah. But what I struggle with is you're doing that child such a disadvantage. That child or young adult, teenager, they're weak. and they're going to struggle. They're going to struggle through life forever.
Yeah, in every interview that they ever go on.
Everything.
And it's just little things. Like with our kids, like when we're at a restaurant, they order. I mean, since they were 4, you make your order.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? No, you make your order. And then they always make the order. You open a door.
Yeah.
You say hello.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times I've sat down with both kids and practiced handshakes.
Yeah.
You're not looking me in the eye. Oh,
yeah.
dude, all the time.
Yeah, that's
Look me in the eye.
Yeah.
Just say nice to meet you. You know what I mean? Like go up to an adult at a party and introduce yourself. They don't do it every time.
Yeah.
My youngest, I really got to he's only 6 still.
Yeah.
But my oldest now is like, when we're in a social situation, I was like, hey, did you say hi to them?
Yeah.
Did you say thank you to them? Yeah. Oh, no, sorry. Hey, really nice to meet you. It's like he's 7, man.
Yeah.
What that's going to do in 11 years or 20 years to the other 90% of the population who didn't do that and now have to learn it, it's just, that's the great separator.
Yeah.
Because especially with AI and all this technology coming in, there's going to be a lot of the road stuff that's taken care of for you. But if you have that personal connection, you're always going to have a job.
Yeah.
You know?
I think that's what's taken me as far as it has is just that the people skills, right? The understanding people.
Did you naturally have that?
I think I do. I think
7th grade, even with your friends.
So
you're outgoing.
Yeah, I think I naturally did. And it's funny. I don't notice that I have it. And again, this is like I've had so many therapy sessions about this. My therapist, he tells me, he's like, you don't even realize that you have it. Yeah. Like people gravitate towards you and you don't even realize it.
Sure.
Like it's not something you're trying to do. It just happens.
Yeah.
So I've always kind of been that people person. I've always been very outgoing. I take the approach of you treat people the way you want to be treated. So I am polite to people. I treat them with respect, right? I'm very empathetic. And I'm really good at reading people, right? And so I think that's what's helped me, especially as you kind of asked the second part of that original question was like, right, what did I have to like learn along the way? And what I learned along the way is a lot of like the business acumen and strategy and, P&Ls and how to make money, right? And, there's a lot of that stuff that I had to learn along the way, but the people side of things, I kind of always had.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for me it was always I'm an energy taker, right? So if I go up to you and you've got good energy and we got a good conversation, I take that energy away. I siphon that, not in a negative way.
Yeah.
But if I walk out of talking to those butchers, it's bring back to Petaluma Market, right?
Yeah.
I have a really good 10-minute conversation with them. I walk away with more energy.
Totally.
And the people that don't get a chance to do that on a day-to-day basis, that social component is just so important to health and mental health, If you naturally have it, it's great, but I also think it could be developed.
Yeah. Well, and I guess I should go back a little bit. I think I naturally have it, but I definitely I had really good mentors. It was the other thing that helped me in my as my progression, through things was I had really good mentors. So there was definitely an aspect of learning to that.
Are you easily coached?
I take constructive criticism very well.
In all situations?
In most, yeah. Maybe my wife won't agree with that.
I was going to say in relationships.
In my career, yes. Yeah. Thick skin. I came up through the organization when things were different. Things have gotten a little bit softer and more touchy-feely, and right. I came up where in the time where like my boss, my VP, would look at me and he was like. And I'll tell the story. Like he looked at me and he was like, "You look like shit." Yeah. And I'm like, "What do you mean?"
Good talk.
He's like, "No, you just look like shit." He's like, "You're dressed like shit."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Oh God." I'm like, "Okay." I'm like, I was wearing like jeans and like a flannel, but it wasn't tucked in, and I had like whatever my sneakers on. I'm 24 years old. I'm like, I'm a kid. Yeah. And so I took that. I'm like, okay, and I actually had a similar situation where I had to talk to somebody about that, further in my career. And instead of telling him, "Hey, you look like shit," I sat him down. I'm like, "Hey, let's be a little bit more professional. Like, hey, like I can help you. Like, I'll help you pick out some clothes. Like, let's get some nice shoes, like that kind of stuff." Yeah. But back to the point. So
hold on, just on that point, because I think it's very important for people to hear. I think presentation, especially when you're getting a job or you're part of a job, is so massive in the way that you look.
Totally.
Not if you're good looking or bad looking, not your body composition. I had a manager at the Elephant Bar in Santa Barbara. I was waiting tables, and all I did was flirt with girls in that restaurant, literally all day. And he pulled me into the walk-in freezer, and he goes, dude, you would be fired right now because of the time that you spend in the back kitchen hitting on women. You know, all the waitresses that were also 18 and 19. I was not dating anybody. It was, fully acceptable part of my life. But he says, but you come in, we had to wear khaki on khaki. We had khaki pants and a khaki shirt. It was just safari-themed restaurant. And he said, every single day that you come in, you have a crease in your sleeves. Because I got them dry cleaned. At 18, I went to a dry cleaner with my uniform every single week. And he goes, that's why you still have a job. Stop hitting on women. Yeah. And I was like, okay, lesson learned.
Totally. And he wasn't nice about it, but I got the message. So what did I do? I went to Nordstrom's, the next weekend, and I bought a bunch of nice slacks and, had them tailored to me. And I bought a bunch of nice shirts. And so I stepped up my game for sure. And that's kind of that professionalism, right? But it was at a point where it was needed, right? Like early on, it wasn't that big of a deal, but he was prepping me. He was grooming me. So he was teaching me those things because he knew eventually he was going to put me in front of, the number 2 guy at Costco, and I was going to have to present to them.
Yeah, look good. Yeah.
So, the mentors that I've had along the way have been tremendous in my path. Tremendous. And so 2 of them just retired this past year. Super sad. One of them retired about 6 years ago. And him and I still talk at least once a month.
Yeah.
He calls me, hey, Beebe, how's it going? How are things? And he's like one of those guys that like he had such a hard time letting go of the business when he retired. Like he still wants to talk to me about the business. Talk to me about this. What's going on with Costco? What's going on with this? How'd you handle this situation? Like he's still schooling me.
That's interesting. So let me ask you a question. I ask people this all the time, and a little bit of a derailed question, but is your work your identity? So that's a man whose work is his identity. Mine is not. When I'm ready to be done, whenever that is, I'm going to be able to walk away and not think about it again. I love what I do, but it's not my identity. Do you feel it's your identity?
No.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. I'm very passionate about my job. Mm-hmm. I take it very serious. I take it even more serious now that I manage a large team of people, but it is not my identity.
Yeah.
And it's part of who I am, but no, I have, you go a little deep here. It's like, I have a number in my head for retirement, right? I have an age and I have a dollar amount. Mm-hmm. When I hit that number, I'm out.
Me as well.
I don't need, so I just had another mentor retire, 62 years old. I would go out on a limb and say well into the 8-figure, net worth range. He could have retired a very, very long time ago, very long time ago. And he liked what he was doing and he's good at it. And we actually are keeping him on as a consultant. So he's still kind of working, but that's not me.
Yeah.
I don't want to be a consultant after. I don't want to hang around. I don't want to, I love what I do, but my goal right now is to help develop the next generation of leaders that can take my spot at some point. I'm 42. I want out at 60.
Yeah.
But I have a number. I have a dollar number too. And if I can hit that dollar number before 60, that's it.
Well, that's a good transition. That's a good transition to management, right? So you just said your next goal is to try to train these people to eventually take over your position. How has that switch been for you from sales, where you're looking at your numbers, that is the only goal, to managing other employees, and especially personalities who don't have your same drive, who don't have your same personality, and getting them to produce the way that you want them to produce. How's that transfer been for you? That's a hard one.
So single-handedly, and I tell my team and I tell my people that I'm grooming for more, that was the single hardest transition in my entire career so far.
Why?
So this was 2014. My company was going through a reorg. I knew it was coming, but I didn't know what it was going to look like for me. So I get a phone call one day from my boss, and he's like, hey, congratulations, you just got promoted to director of sales. And I'm like, well, I already had a director title. And I'm like, well, I'm already a director. What are you talking about? He's like, yeah, you were a director of business. Now you're owning business. He's like, now you're a director of people. And I had a full-blown panic attack. I'm like, okay, awesome, thanks. Get off the phone, and go in the bathroom, and I'm splashing water on my face. I was scared because it is a massive shift, and I think it takes a certain personality. I don't know that everybody is cut out for that, and that's why I'm very cautious with people when I talk to them about that shift. I'm like, you're right there, but I just need to make sure that you're actually ready to do that, because I had to give up. At the time, I was managing, I don't know, $500 million a year of Costco business. I had all of Whole Foods business. I had all of Sprouts business.
Making great money,
making good money, and I was in charge of myself and my customers and my own numbers, and I had full power and ability to perform. It was on me. If
you won, you won. It was you. If you lost, you lost.
Correct.
Yeah.
And the other thing that part of that in 2014 when I got that role was they're like, oh, you are going to manage the Northwest. And I'm like, well, I fucking live in California. Like, I live in Northern California. What are you talking about? I'm going to manage the Northwest team. And we have a processing plant up there, and we have a team of, there was at the time, I think it was like 8 people. And I was scared. And I went in and I sat down with one of my other mentors, and we talked through it, and I talked to my therapist about it. And my conclusion that I came to was, be the leader that you would follow. And I live by that still to this day. So that was 2014. So we're going on 11 years now.
So what does that mean in terms of your ability to inspire and motivate your employees? Like, who is the leader that you want to follow? If you can make an avatar of that person.
Honestly, I didn't have one. What I had was bits and pieces of my different mentors.
Yeah.
I had different things, like my one mentor that was really, really hard on me. The story about, he pulled me aside and was like, you look like shit, right? I'm like, okay. So I took the things that I loved about all of my mentors, and I implemented that into how I manage people. But I also took the things that I didn't like, right? And there was little things about every one of my mentors that I didn't like. One of them, he was notorious for yelling at people on a conference call or belittling somebody on a conference call.
Yeah, that's brutal.
Right. The other one, he just wasn't there. He would kind of like brush you off. I'm coming to him like, hey, I really need your support on this. And he kind of brushed me off. And so those are just a few examples. But so I took kind of all the good of the mentors that I had, and I implemented that. And then things that I didn't like, I made sure not to do those things. I made sure to handle those situations differently. Like the example I gave you of, like, I was told that I look like shit because my shirt wasn't tucked in and all of those things, right? I now had a person that came to a meeting with the same thing, jeans, and his shirt was untucked, and he was wearing, sneakers that looked like he mowed his lawn on Sunday. But what I took was, hey, and I pulled him aside. I didn't do it in front of everybody.
It's all presentation.
And I was very empathetic. I was very compassionate. I was very respectful about it. And we had a conversation about it. And I offered my assistance. I'm like, literally, dude, I'll go to the store with you. Like, let's do this.
Yeah.
And so what I've ended up as is, I consider myself, so at high level, I'm a servant leader. Like that, I have a textbook. If you Google servant leadership style, that's what I am. I lead with compassion. I lead with empathy. I lead with respect. I am there for encouragement. One of the things I've really learned, and again, it's like I be the leader that I would want to follow, is everybody wants to feel appreciated, right? And so I go out of my way on a daily basis, not weekly, not monthly, not quarterly, not at our mid-year reviews or annual reviews, on a daily basis to make sure that my team knows how thankful I am for them and how much gratitude I have for what they do. And that's gone a long way.
Does team members ever take advantage of that? Have you ever had an employee, because you are so verbal about your appreciation for them, has any employee ever been like, oh, this guy, he loves us, he's always praising us,
no,
maybe I'll back off a little bit? Have you ever seen that within a team member?
No, because the flip side of that is I'm very clear on my expectations. Got it. Right. And I hold people accountable.
Okay. So
that's
twofold.
It's twofold. It really is, right? I'm not like a total softie.
Sure.
I will tell people I am there. One of the things I tell people all the time is I will never ask you to do something that I wouldn't do myself or that I haven't done myself. So, like right now we're having some supply issues. And so we have to have some really difficult conversations with a lot of really big customers. And I told my team, I'm like, listen, we've all done this before. I've done this a million times. I'm like, it ebbs and flows. I said, but I understand. And that's where the empathy comes in. I tee it up as, listen, I know what I'm asking you to do sucks. I know I'm asking you to go sit in front of a really big customer and tell them that we can't supply them right now. And I know that sucks. And I know they're going to be upset. And so I tell them, I'm like, you want me there? I'm there. I'm like, you want me to deliver the message? I'm there. I'm like, you want me to be the bad guy? I'm there. I will never ask you to do something that I won't do myself. And that was, again, one of those things that, from my mentors that I had coming up, like that was one of the things that I didn't feel like I had. I felt like I was
like on an island by yourself.
In certain situations, it was like, go figure it out.
Yeah.
Do it yourself. And so I've made sure to do that. But yeah, no, I don't think anybody's taken advantage of it. I mean, maybe here or there.
Yeah.
With like stuff where like I'm really big on work-life balance. I'm really transparent about my work-life balance. Like probably overly transparent. Like I'll tell my team, I'm like, hey, Bodie's 9-month doctor's appointment was last week. That's a pretty normal thing to say, but I took 2 Fridays off to take it was like a day date. I told my team, I'm like, I'm taking the day off literally to spend with my wife because we need some time.
Yeah.
And I tell them, I'm like, oh, I'm leaving at this time on this day because I have a therapy session. I talk about my therapy openly. I don't care. So I'm really transparent when it comes to my schedule and my work-life balance. And I do that so that they understand that it's okay to have that work-life balance.
Yeah.
Right? It's okay. Like if you got to jam out for a doctor's appointment, if you got to go pick up your kid.
Life's life. Yeah.
Life's life, man. Yeah. And like I'm not a micromanager. Like I hire really good people and I help coach and mentor them, but I trust them.
How are you with letting go and control of those employees in a sense of you have certain standards for you and who you are and what you did within the industry. You have certain standards for your, team members.
Yeah.
When they don't hit those standards all the time, we're not talking about 50-50, but if, 10, 15, 20% of the time they're not hitting the standards that you want them to, how are you with, like, does it weigh on you?
Yeah.
Because I like environments to be a certain way in my life. And I front load my life to create the environment for success. That's what I've always done.
Yeah.
You can do that till your face is blue, but if someone else isn't on board with it, it's going to be an issue.
Yeah, I have a hard time delegating, and that's something that I talked with my therapist about. I've talked with my boss about. I've talked with my team about. I am a control freak. Mm-hmm. I try to keep it at bay. Right, I'm not a micromanager control freak, but I am a control freak, and I have a hard time delegating. And it's something that I have to like really, really work on. Where I'll jump into something. Sometimes partially because I believe the person that I would be delegating it to maybe isn't going to do it to my standard.
So does that mean you're taking on more work?
Yeah, it is. And that's where I need to be better about delegating it out. But it's also, and I've forced myself, and I've gotten a lot better over the last probably couple of years, is to delegate those things out. And I'm seeing the fruits of those decisions, right? I'm seeing the development in those people that I'm delegating. They're getting better. I'm getting better. I have more time. Like I think of myself at this point where I sit in the organization. I try to be a thought leader, right? I try to really focus on the high level, the big strategic, what are we doing? What does the team look like 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years from now? What are, those type of things. But I can very easily get sucked into the weeds of the day to day because I don't mind being there. And so I've got to pull back. I do. I'm constantly having to pull back and delegating. There's even times where like I'll sign up for something. I'll be like, hey, I'll do this. Coming off of a conference call. And then after I get off the conference call, I'm like, shit, I should have said this person should do that. And so then I'll send a note. I'll be like, hey, I know I said I'll do this, but like, I think you should do this. It'll be better for everybody if you do this. And you're usually like, yeah, dude, that's awesome. Like, I'll take it.
How are you with quotas? Like, is that a motivating factor for you or is it a fear-based motivation? Like quotas for me, depending on what job it was in sales, and I've had a bunch of different jobs, could be very effective and very motivating. And then there's also companies who just set unrealistic quotas and you're just chasing and you're never feeling satisfied because it's almost an inflated, faulty number on purpose. Yeah. How is Purdue Farms with that?
They're really good. They set realistic expectations. But I've definitely had plans. We call them op plans, right? So or quotas or op plans. Like I've had some that you see at the beginning of the fiscal year and you're like, wow, that's a goddamn big number.
Yeah.
I don't shy away. I'm not fearful of that. I'm like, watch me fucking do this.
Yeah.
Right. Like that's how I am. I'm like, we're going to get this done. We're going to figure it out.
So what do you do in that situation if one of your team members isn't hitting their quotas consistently or is far off? What's your first step as a manager for someone who you see potential in, right?
So it's interesting. So and this is just our organization, and I'll actually go back because I left Purdue for a while and I went private equity for 4 years. But in my organization right now, my team is so badass. I don't have any issues. If they're not hitting their numbers, it's likely because of our supply, right? The poultry industry is in a very, very weird, and I won't go into a lot of it, but it's in a really weird spot right now that I haven't seen in 20-something years.
Is that off like the egg shortage?
It's AI, high path AI. We're just in a position where like the entire country is short. Like there's not enough chicken to go around, and it's also, because beef and pork prices are so high, so more people are eating chicken. So if somebody right now on my team is not hitting their quota or their number,
they got problems.
It's not because of them. It's because we don't have supply.
Oh, yeah. Got it.
So, but if I go back to, I left Purdue for to go back to a private equity. So when I started on this side of the business with Petaluma Poultry, we were private equity backed. We knew when I came in 2007, I knew that we were trying to sell the company. Private equity owners, they come in, they build a company, they sell it, right? It's what they do. So, I had the opportunity in 2019 to go to a private equity company, Tenderbelly. I think you and I had talked about it, the bacon and stuff. So, it was actually some of the original investors in Coleman Natural Foods that built Petaluma Poultry, Coleman Natural Foods, and sold it to Purdue. So there was a connection there. But so when I went there, that was a completely different ballgame than big organization, tons of resources, all of those things. Like we were lean and we were cash flow negative, and it was crazy. It was just a different world. But in that situation, I did have several people that I had to let go because they weren't hitting their numbers, right? And I'm a really honest person. I'm really good at just kind of ripping the Band-Aid off of like, hey, this isn't working out, right? And usually I give them forewarning. Like I don't blindside anybody. Like I'm going to give them warning. If they're not doing well, we're talking about it. Again, I'm not waiting for a quarterly review or a mid-year review. We're talking about it on the spot.
Yeah.
Hey man, this is what I'm seeing. Like what's going on? Like what can we do? And so I give them like ample time to make it happen. But then when we've got to the point where it's clear that they're not going to be a good fit, then it's pretty easy for me to just kind of rip the Band-Aid off. I don't like it. I'll tell you. Do
you look at that as a failure of you?
No, I used to.
Interview. Why does that change?
Oh God,
because the interview process to me is I loved interviews.
Yeah.
Growing up, and that is a very interesting process of you being able to pick out in a short amount of time the qualities that this person is going to bring to your team and success. So why did you look at it as a failure to you in the beginning, and then how did that evolve? Because
I was young and I hadn't worked through it enough. But there's one case where I gave the person way too much time. I gave them too long of a leash, and in hindsight, I should have let them go for the better good of the company, the organization, and the team. I should have let them go a year before, and I didn't. And what that did is that
why didn't you?
Because I wanted it more than he did, and I saw the
potential. You wanted him to be better more than he. And
I saw the potential. Like I saw him. Like you have every tool to be a fucking rock star.
Yeah.
And you're just mediocre. And so that was where. So I pushed, and I wanted him. It was like I wanted him to be successful, and I wanted him to be an all-star, and he was okay just being a substitute, right?
Sure.
And what I realized in that was that I can't want something more for the person than they want for themselves. But I did. I used to take it really personal. And over the years of having to let, I've only had to let, I don't know, I'm going to say 6 or 7 people go. And for different reasons, but it weighs heavy. Like I don't like doing it. Like, even if it's for reason, like, even if it's for cause, like, I have a good reason why I'm letting this person go.
Well, it's terrible.
I hate it. I don't sleep the night before. My stomach is in knots. I mean, because I care. I have, again, compassion, empathy. I'm like, this person has a family. But I am good at once we're to that point, I'm good at just ripping the Band-Aid off. And it's just because that's the right thing to do, right? Hey, here's the deal. It's not working out. Here's the reasons why. Do you have any questions? Nope. Okay. HR is going to handle your exit paperwork, and I kind of get out of it at that point.
Yeah. How's that changed your interview process? Has your interview process evolved over the years of what you're looking for, the qualities you're looking for?
Yeah.
How quickly do you know? If I sit in front of you on an interview and I come in, how does it take minutes? Does it take an hour? Does it take multiple interviews?
So I would say within probably, so here, I'm going to back up a little bit. So when I interview, I think this is the empath in me that does this, but when I'm interviewing somebody, I know that interviews people get nervous, right? It's human nature to be nervous and anxious for an interview. I don't want to interview somebody when they're nervous and anxious because you're not getting the real version. You're not getting the version that's going to show up every single day at work, right? So when I interview people, my first goal is get their guard down, get them calm, right? So we're shooting the shit, and I'm very casual when I'm not the put a tie on and I'm very casual and it's a very casual environment. But that's my first goal is get their guard down, get them on a level where they can just be them, right? So lots of small talk, talk about the weather, talk about family, talk about, those kind of things. Once that guard is down, then I get into and I start asking some of the harder questions. But what I'll say is I would say I probably know within about 15 minutes if they're a good culture fit. Mm-hmm. And when I say that, it's, are they going to fit well with my team? Right? Because I'm building a team and I have to build a cohesive team, right? So I kind of know within that first 15 minutes whether they're going to be a good culture fit. Now, it takes me a little bit longer to figure out if they're going to be a good fit for the role, right? So usually I'll do an hour interview, phone interview, and it's multiple interviews. And there's sometimes where where I've interviewed and I'm like, holy shit, this is the one, mm-hmm. right? That definitely happens. But I would say about an hour, within an hour, I kind of know if they be a good fit. And I have my interview process. It's funny. Some people may hear this and think I'm crazy, but I maybe oversimplify it. But when I'm done with an interview and I'm looking at all my notes, I look at 3 things: gets it, wants it, and can do it. Right? Do they get it? Right? Do they understand it? Do they want it? That's my biggest thing. I want people that want it so bad because I want it so bad, right? Mm-hmm. And then can they do it? So that's my rating, and I really think about those 3 things.
Do those trump experience to you in that process? So if you come in and you have 2 applicants, and one has all the experience in the world, and the other one has half that, but that person nails the interview with you, which one are you taking?
The one that nails the interview.
Yeah. You have to. Again,
we are in a people person environment, right? That's the world we live in, right? That is the industry we're in. We are, especially when you're talking about outside salespeople. Mm-hmm. You've got to be on. So yeah, if you can wow me in an interview, I'm there. So, and then especially, most of the stuff, again, post-COVID, where everything's Zoom right now. And then once you get to before the hiring process, we'll go meet them in person and, because, you get that in-person feeling from them. But I will tell you, the other thing, is I've been wrong before in an interview.
Which way? Where you thought they were going to do good and they ended up not doing great, or you thought they were going to be okay and they end up dominating, or both?
No, the first. Yeah. Right. I've never hired anybody that I just thought was going to be okay. That's not my style.
Yeah, you just need to fill a position.
But it's happened to me one time, and it's actually more recently, and I am thankful for the experience. But what
were you wrong about?
Everything.
And what? Give me an example.
So I'll walk you through. So I had a young woman who. We were interviewing for a role in the Midwest, a regional sales manager, so fairly entry level. And
no wonder you got offended by me calling you a regional manager. It's entry level. All right, go on.
That's funny. Yeah, and so she just interviewed really well. She said all the right things. She was actually name dropping people at customers. She was name dropping customers like, oh, I know this customer and I work with this customer and I work with this distributor. And right. So in my business, in my world, I'm like, you're saying all the right things. Mm-hmm. Like you've got these connections, like, and we're a relationship, a relationship industry as well. Right. So it's like, who do you know? How can you get in? Like, can you get a meeting with this customer that this other person can't get because you drink tequila with them every Friday night, whatever it is. Right. Yeah. And so she said all the right things. And so, right, coming out of the interview, I'm like, culture fit, awesome. Like she was just really high energy, which I love because I'm high energy.
Yeah.
I'm like, she's high energy. She was talking the right things. And so I interviewed with her and I passed. So then she went to the next round. So she interviewed with my director of sales out in the Midwest. My director of the sales in the Midwest came back. She's like, wow, this person was amazing, right? And I'm like, yeah, fuck, she was great. So we're like, okay, let's go and do some additional interviews. So we had him interview with like 3 different people in our organization. One kind of more on the finance side of things, one on sales planning, our like internal support systems that are in our organization. And so we had her interview with them. Every single interview came back rave reviews. She's amazing. Let's get her on board. Okay, cool. So we got her on board, and there was red flags within the first probably the first 60 days.
Effort, work, like what was the red flag?
It was. So honestly, it was. I think it's funny because I've never really experienced this. I think she exaggerated the shit out of her resume, and somehow was smart enough to like do the work to figure out who the customer, like she name dropped stuff.
Yeah,
like she
smart.
was,
researched it.
But then when it came down to actually getting the job done, she couldn't get the meeting. She didn't know. It was it was a really weird situation. And there was some other stuff like, and then we ended up, found out that she wasn't a good culture fit. She would say some things that were like really inappropriate in mixed company. We had a national sales meeting. She had a little bit too much to drink. Made a few people uncomfortable. Yeah. So it was not a good fit. But what I learned going back to that story where I told you I kept that person for too long.
Mm-hmm. You cut bait.
It was needed to be quick. It was just get out as fast as we can. So she ended up being on board for about 5 or 6 months. Which is pretty quick. I mean, that's about as quick as you can do. Like we saw the red flags around 60 days, a little bit more. Like we did some coaching, right? Because you don't want to cut too quick.
Yeah.
You don't want to pull the ripcord too quick. So there was lots of coaching, and then we realized she wasn't coachable. She got defensive and that kind of stuff. So once we knew it was time, about probably 4 months in. But then my company is very risk adverse, so there's HR and legal is involved, process, and it takes a couple of months to figure it all out, and that person goes.
So it's a great lesson. So I just wrote my 18-year-old, not 18 yet, she's 17, she's a senior in high school, and she went off to this retreat, and my brother asked me to write her a letter, and I wrote, everyone's writing her paragraphs. Mine was like 6 pages, right? Like literally it took me like 2 days.
Yeah.
And I started to write this letter. Then I started going like, you know what? I'm just going to pass along like 15 to 20 life points that I've learned through failure or through success. And one of those things was interviews, right? When I first started to interview, I would do the same thing. I would research every aspect of the company, who was interviewing me, and I would change who I was to fit their company. And that never worked. What I realized was, be you.
Totally.
And if you don't get it, you don't get it.
Totally.
Don't be desperate, be you. But if you get it and you're you, the fit is going to be perfect.
Totally.
And it's one thing that I wrote to her, right? Yeah. Because when you're young, you just want the job.
Yeah.
You want the money, you want the benefits. But, going into a job for 5 or 6 months is terrible because then when you're out of that job, you're doing the whole process again.
Yeah.
So take your time as a young person to interview. You're going to find your right fit, especially if you're a hard worker, regardless of your experience.
Yeah.
But just be who you are.
Yeah.
Totally. But I would do that. I would do that same thing.
Yeah.
I would like research where they went to school, what the mascot was.
Totally.
Totally. And just plant all that stuff in and always get it.
It's funny. So this brings something into my mind around when I left Purdue to go work for Tenderbelly and run sales for them, and I was interviewing. The feedback from I'm interviewing with the founder of the organization. Like he started the company, and after I'll never forget, he called me, and I was walking a Costco store, I pick up the phone. I'm like, hey, can I call you back? Like, let me get out of the store. I'll go sit in my car and we can talk. He's like, yeah, call me back. So I go out of the car. I call him back. This is like the first round of interviews. And that's the approach. I just was me. I'm like, listen, because I was in a position where like I was already in a good spot. I wasn't looking. Like they recruited me.
Yeah, you get that.
So I was in a position, and I wasn't cocky, but I was definitely more like, you guys need me more than I need you. Yeah. And I asked a ton of questions about where the business is going. What are they trying to do? What are their strategies? What's the capital look like? What's the runway? And it was funny because the feedback from him, and he's a founder, and you've probably dealt with founders of companies before. They're not always super professional. Mm-hmm. And so after I'm like, and we talked for literally, I'm sitting in the Costco parking lot on the phone with him for probably 2 hours. And at the end of it, he's like, man, you put me through the fucking ringer. He was like, I feel like you interviewed me.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I did. Like and interviews do go both ways, right?
Yeah.
Like 100%, like they go both ways. It's not just I'm interviewing you for this role. It's it's the person that's looking at the job. It's, am I a good fit for this job? Do I want this job? Yeah. Does this fit into my career path or where I want to be? And in that situation, it was definitely a lot more me of like, do I want to do this? Do I want to take this leap of faith? Do I want to go, leave a 105-year-old family-run organization with ton of stability and ton of growth to go take this big risk?
Take a chance.
And I did, because I did. But yeah, that interview was interesting. But interviews go both ways.
Yeah, they do.
So, yeah.
So let's transition to some personal stuff. So 2022, I'm in Scottsdale, sitting by a pool drinking a cocktail with my wife at the Scott. If anyone's in Scottsdale, there's a resort called the Scott. It's awesome.
Yeah.
And I get a call from you, and I always pick it up when you call. And we had a long conversation when I was sitting by that pool.
Yeah.
You had some major life changes happening at that time.
Yeah.
Here we are almost 3 years later to the month, right?
Yeah.
That was in, I think, May when you called me.
Yeah.
And we're a couple months from May. 3 years later, you've got a wife, you've got a kid, you've got a new house.
Yeah.
Those are three. That's fast.
Yeah.
For 3 years.
Yeah.
Bring me through. You don't have to go into all the details. But bring me through kind of what that last 3 years has been for you, because it's been like just a meteoric.
I think So
you've been shot to the moon.
Totally. I think
in a good way.
You almost have to back up a little bit. So I called you in May of 2022, but the 5 years before that were pivotal in my life. Mm-hmm. Lots of good and bad things. And so I'll go back to 2000, kind of like where I started, where I start this like 5 years of just craziness in my life. I'll go back 5 years. So 2017, I was in a really bad car accident. I was hit by a drunk driver. I mean, it was just, it was crazy. One of the guys went through the windshield. Like, we actually thought he died on the scene. We found out later that he didn't. And that, like, there was a lot of anxiety and stuff. I dealt with a lot of anxiety after that. And so, therapy was really helpful for me. So that was kind of the first thing. And then I actually separated from my now ex-wife. We actually separated, and we didn't get divorced until 2022.
Who you had dated since high school?
No,
just after?
We got together. I was like
long relationship.
Long relationship. Yeah. But we had actually separated in 2018. So I went through a separation in 2018, kicked her out of the house. She was in an apartment. So we didn't talk for, I don't know, months. And so we were kind of worked on ourselves, and then we kind of came back together and worked through some things. I lost my sister in 2019. That was obviously huge, like huge life-changing for me. And then decided that we wanted to try to make the marriage work. So we worked on that. I left Purdue and went to this new organization.
A lot of stuff going on.
Which was crazy. Sold my house in Rohnert Park that you helped me buy, and wanted a fresh start, and bought that house on Fountain Grove. And so, I mean, there was just a lot of things, right? That was a lot of shit.
It's a short period.
So it was kind of a lot to get through. And in early 2022, realized that the relationship, the marriage was over. And in hindsight, I mean, God, it was over honestly 10 years before.
Yeah.
But regardless,
you loved her and you wanted to make it work.
Yeah, we tried.
I get it.
We tried. We gave it the best shot, and there was just some stuff that we couldn't get past, and so I made the decision, and in early 2022, and I sold the house. You helped me sell the house. God, wasn't that a cluster?
And that was like right when the interest switched, right?
It was,
and everyone was like, "What's going on?" And it went from this insanely hot market in 21, probably the hottest market that we've ever seen, or close to it, to crickets in the matter of months, because that interest went from 2.5-3% to like 6% in like 6 to 7 months. So, but we ended up doing it.
That was obviously one of the longest deals you've probably done. It was definitely the longest deal for mine. I was like, ended up being 120 days or something.
Yeah.
But so got out of the house and I got into an apartment, 2-bedroom apartment. So I had my office in one room and myself in the other. And I was 30, I don't even know. God, what was I, 39, I guess? 38, 39. Somewhere in there.
Started working on yourself too?
Yeah.
A little bit more?
Totally. Yeah. It was the first time I had ever lived alone.
Yeah.
Literally, I went from living with my parents in my early 20s to being in a relationship, buying a condo at 23 years old. That was the dumbest fucking idea ever in 2007.
Yeah, it's the top of the market.
But I never lived alone. And so I had this really cool period of my life where I could be selfish. It was literally me.
Yeah.
And I was working for the private equity company at that point. So I threw myself into work. I threw myself into my health and my fitness.
I remember you be like, hey, I'm going to yoga, and then I'm going to go swim, and then I'm going to get a smoothie.
Oh my God, dude. I did. I fell in love with it. I still, to this day, I love swimming.
Yeah.
I still love hot yoga. It's like, I always say my brain's an asshole. Like the only time even when I'm sleeping, my brain's an asshole.
Yeah.
The only time I can turn my brain off is when it's 104 degrees and I'm trying not to die.
Totally.
That's literally the only time.
Yeah.
So fell in love with that. And, I had so many people come out of the woodworks.
Hold on one second. You said you've brought up therapy 8 times in the conversation. Did you start therapy at that point?
I had been doing it for a few years before already. Yeah. I started therapy. Honestly, I started therapy back in 2017.
Okay.
Yeah. And I've gone through.
What did you go in to work on? Did you go in with like certain goals in mind to work on, or did you go in to have conversations and realize what you needed to work on?
A little bit of both.
Okay.
Yeah, a little bit of both. I went in with, in certain situations, and I'll actually take a step back. I've gone through in those, however, since 2017, I've gone through probably 5 or 6 different therapists. And what I and why I ended up switching was I felt like I outgrew them, right? Like I had gotten everything that I needed from them. They helped me out in a really troubling time of my life, but they kind of stopped helping me. And the therapist I have now, Dr. Barry Pierce, the dude's a stud. But he's what I don't need in therapy is somebody just being like, oh yeah, that's really sad. Oh yeah, you're gonna get through it.
You need meat and potatoes. Like,
I need someone that's gonna be like,
need to work on. This
you're
is what
being stupid.
Yeah.
Don't like that kind of shit.
Well,
and he is just
to learn. Yeah.
And so I found what I needed. But yeah, it was a little bit of both. It was like, I want to work on these things. I had a lot of, when my sister passed away in 2019, I had a ton of anxiety, and that was one of the things that that's when I found Barry Pierce.
About losing someone you love, or about the possibility of death for you?
Everything. It shook my world as it does.
Yeah.
And I still, it's hard for me, now, but it shook my world. Like I was a shell of who I was.
Was it unexpected? We don't need to go into the details. But
Oh yeah.
Did you see? Oh, it was just completely
100%
out of the blue.
Yeah. It was suicide. It
Yeah.
was 100%.
Okay.
It was, no one saw it coming, and it was, and that brings in a whole nother thing. So, but yeah, it was, so that's where when I found Dr. Barry Pierce, and he's been my rock.
Nice,
But yeah, there was a little bit of going in with I want to work on these things, and then a little bit of self-reflection as you're going through it. Like the thing that with therapy, and I tell people this, and I'm a huge advocate for mental health and for therapy, but I'm like, what I tell people, I'm like, if you don't go in there with you have to, no ego, no guard. You have to come in there and be completely honest about everything. If you go in there and you're trying to bullshit your therapist, you're not going to get anything out of it. You're just wasting your time. You're wasting their time.
Yeah.
It's all about being vulnerable. And that's hard. It's still to this day, I get anxious before I have a therapy session.
Yeah.
Still to this day.
That's kind of cool though. That's like before a big game. You know what I mean? Like I got anxious before every game I ever played, no matter how good I was at the sport. Like there has to be that component.
Totally.
Right?
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
So you're working on yourself. You're now kind of, I don't want to say reborn, but
I was reborn.
You're reborn. You're a little older. You got a little money, right? And that's another thing, right? When you're single, usually it's your early days.
Yeah.
You don't have money. You can't do what you want. You can't take the trips you want. You can't buy the car you want. But you're kind of back out there reborn with little cash and doing what you want. Did you enjoy that lifestyle? Did you enjoy being single at that point?
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was interesting. So I had a lot of people come out of the woodworks and they're like, oh, I want to set you up with this gal and I want to do this. And
I hated that with friends who would always do that
totally.
with me. I never liked that.
Totally.
There's a responsibility connected to that I didn't want, because if it didn't work out, and at that point in my life, 100% of my relationships didn't work out.
Yeah.
You know that you have to go back to your friend again.
And explain it to them.
Explain it to them. Yeah. Her laugh is terrible.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just didn't want that connection.
So I wasn't in a hurry to start dating, but I was open to the possibility, right? And I had some very strict rules for myself. One of them was I refused online dating. I would not do it. I'm not setting up a fucking profile and meeting somebody and swiping left and swiping right in that bullshit. I'm a people person. I will meet somebody organically in the world. I don't care if I'm shopping for apples at Whole Foods or the gym or whatever, right? I'm at a concert, or I just randomly am walking down the street and I see some beautiful woman and I decide I have the balls to go up and be like, hey, you're really hot. Like, here's my number. Like, that was my thing. I'm not going to get onto the online dating profile stuff. And so I didn't. And my second rule, which I broke immediately, my second rule was I'm not going to date any single mothers.
Why? What in your mind kind of backed you off from that? The responsibility of taking on a child that was already
being a step parent scared. It was my own fears. It was my own insecurities. It was being a step parent, and it was also the baggage of like, back and forth with the ex. And
I love that you had two rules, and one of them was just you're married to a woman who has a child, who already brought a child in. Yeah,
totally. And so those are my rules. And I went out on some dates. I went on some casual.
I remember
dates.
calling and talking to you about them.
Yeah,
like,
we
people were meeting at yoga and this, and it's like I was living through you for a little bit. Like, right on, man.
Yeah,
but you were happy in it.
There was a couple, one of the one that stands out to me, and I'm open with it. I talked to my wife about it. Like I accidentally went on a date with a 23-year-old. Yeah. I had no idea. Like, she was just...
How old were you at that point?
39.
Yeah.
38, 39. I was 39, I think.
I'm not good at math, but there's a separation there.
It's huge. But I didn't know, like, it was, again, she was beautiful. I saw her. There was an attraction.
No laws were broken.
No,
23.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so, we went out on a date and we went to Duke's up in Healdsburg.
Oh, okay.
And, in the initial conversation, found out she was like, said something about, I graduated from Purdue University in Indiana, and I'm like, when did you graduate? She's like, 2 years ago. And I did the math, and I'm like, oh, fuck.
Yeah. And
immediately, it was...
There's a difference in conversation.
Totally, just completely different.
Yeah.
And so, but that was one of the funnier ones where I'm like, I accidentally did that.
Yeah.
But it was just, I wasn't looking for it. I was just open to it. And that's kind of what I found... And I'll divert a little bit, but even when I left Purdue to go to work for Tender Belly and run sales for them, my mindset at that point, I was open to it, right? So I wasn't looking, but I was open to it. And I think once you're open, you open yourself up to hey, I'm open to this, things happen. So I wasn't looking, I wasn't actively trying to date. I just was open. If I meet somebody, I meet somebody, and I met somebody.
Yeah.
And it was organic. It was at the gym. And it started with how
quickly did she tell you she had a kid? Did you know immediately?
Yeah, I knew within the first, I knew
first
within
date?
the first couple of weeks, actually before or even for our first date.
Yeah.
So it kind of started with some it was at hot yoga. So I'm in, and it started with some back and forth banter, about music and, that kind of stuff, and going to concerts. And, so, the first thing, and again, working human beings, I'm a man, she was beautiful.
Sure.
And I'm like, okay, check the first box.
Box is checked.
And so we started talking, about different things. And she has a scar on her back that's about that long. And my mom has a very similar scar. My mom has a 3-level fusion of her spine, and I was there when she went through the surgery and everything. And so I saw that, and it intrigued me. And so I had asked her about it. I'm like, hey, my mom has a very similar scar. Like, what happened? And she was like very transparent. She was like, I almost died in a car accident in 2017. And I have a 5-level fusion of my spine. She's like, I've had like 9 surgeries, nerve reconstructive surgeries. Wow. And I feel like at this point in my life, I've gone through some shit, right? And I connect with other people that have gone through some shit. I have a hard time connecting with people that like have lived life. That just have kind of like lived this like really like easy, like, right? Coast through that life. And that was kind of an immediate connection for us. And then I'm trying to think. So
how quickly did you know?
So her and I talked for probably, I would say a month and a half. There was back and forth banter. We'd be in the same classes and stuff.
Did you know then?
Know what?
That she was the one.
No, I mean, at this point, it was just like, no. It was
just
talking.
Building.
Yeah, we hadn't even gone on a date. We were just
because there's
talking.
only been a couple, really just one. But earlier on, when I was really young, I was like, oh, this is gonna be one. But with my wife, like I knew. I know it sounds cliche, but I knew immediately, like, this has the potential.
Totally. That's what I knew, that it had the potential.
Okay. Yeah.
And then, so the funny story is, so I was nervous. I hadn't dated in years. I was in a relationship for 15 years. And so I would like scoot my mat closer to her.
Yeah.
Because we'd be talking when we'd get like going in. And so like, one class I'm like a little bit closer. So this one class, I moved it was right, I think it was right after the Morgan Wallen concert. And she just happened to in 2022. So she had happened to go to the Morgan Wallen concert at the Shoreline. I went the next night at the Wheatland Amphitheater. And we were talking about some stuff about after the concert, and the conversation, we were like, class was getting ready, but the conversation was still going. So I'm like, I'm going to move I'm going to move next to her. So I did. I moved my mat over to her, and we were still kind of shooting the shit. And we get into this class, and I blew my knee out in class.
Oh, damn. That class?
That class.
Ooh.
So like literally like sounded like rocks crunching. Like I was coming out of
What'd you pop? ACL? MCL?
MCL, PCL, meniscus, partial ACL. So no surgery, luckily. Yeah. But I mean, it was, and it literally my leg locked. One of the bones, I don't know the technical terms of it, but like one of those lower bones, there's 2 bones on your lower leg that come up, the tib fib, like one of them like was dislocated. So my leg was locked. I couldn't move it at all.
So you're just like,
and I'm like
straight leg walking out of class.
And she's next to me, and she's like, are you okay? She heard it too. She was over the music and everything. Yeah. She was like, are you okay? And I'm like,
absolutely not.
I just grenaded my knee.
Yeah.
And so she's like, okay. She's like, are you okay? Let me help you out. So and everybody else is like doing their workout still. And so she helps me out. She gets me outside in the little waiting room, and she goes back in, and then she comes back out. She's like, hey, I got your stuff. Like, don't worry. Like, I'll get your mat. I'll get your stuff. And at this point, again, there was some back and forth banter for us for like weeks. And so as I'm limping my ass out to the car, because I know I got to go to the ER, I'm like, in my head, I'm like, I want to write a note. Because she was very sweet. She was the one that stopped. And she was like, are you okay? And so I was going to write a note, and I was going to put it on her car. And I chickened out. Yeah. Totally chickened out. So,
why?
Fear of rejection. I mean, to put it simple, like, that was what it was. It was, I was afraid to be rejected. No. So I go home, I go to the hospital, do all the things. And the next day I check my Instagram, and I have a message in my DMs.
Now she followed up. Yeah.
And she's like, hey, I don't know if you remember, this is Sam from class. I just want to make sure you're okay.
That's sweet.
And it was in the evening. It was like later in the evening. And so we talk about it now. So like,
Did you respond immediately?
Immediately. Immediately.
No delay.
No delay. No. And, you know, and so she was like, it was funny. We laughed about it. She was like, I'm really sorry. She's like, I just, you know, she was like, she went into, because like when you go into the class, you have to like log in. You have to like go click like I'm here basically.
Yeah.
But it's a list of all the names.
Oh, so she saw your name.
So she went after and pulled. She like went into the iPad.
Nice.
And she pulled my name.
That's
and
a
then
good move.
my Instagram wasn't private back then, and so she Googled my name or Instagram my name, came up, saw it. So anyway, so we started talking that night, and I will tell you, I knew that night.
Yeah.
Like we spent probably 6 hours talking, and she's, you know, we talked about her car accident, almost dying, very toxic, abusive relationship with her ex. At the time, her daughter had just turned 4, Avery. So we talked, or sorry, just turned 5. So we talked about that. But we talked about everything. We talked about our love languages. We talked about, you know, what does a relationship really mean? Like we talked about what do we, like we got into like some deep shit on night 1, just through we were just texting. Like we were originally DMing, and then I was like, so again, this is funny, and she knows this. I've told the story. I wanted her number. I didn't want to just be going through Instagram.
Yeah,
So I wanted her number. So I was like, hey, I'm trying to stay off of social media. Like just text me give me your phone number and I'll text you. So that was my like not so sly way.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we spent like probably 6 hours texting, and there was this just instant connection of like, we'd both been through a lot of shit in our life, and you know, we both knew, I think coming out of that relationship and being older, like I knew exactly what I was looking for, right? There was no question about what I was looking for and what I deserved. That was the therapy kind of that as I was prepping for divorce, that I was realizing was I deserved more, and I wasn't too much. Right. For so long, I thought I'm too much.
You're not overbearing.
I'm too much. I need too much. I'm too needy.
Yeah.
No, I was just with the wrong person.
Sure.
And so from that night, I kind of knew. And then we planned our first date. I took her to the top of Roof 106 in Healdsburg and had cocktails.
Yeah.
And then we went to Geyserville. We went to Catelli's.
Nice.
And so had an awesome first date. And, you know, there was...
You're definitely a man that can wine and dine.
Yeah.
That is your style.
I like nice things.
You like nice things.
I like
you
nice
do.
things. I do. And so honestly, like I knew, like after the first date, I knew. I mean, cliche as it sounds, I was head over heels in love. I knew that was my person.
And then how fast was it until you guys end up locking in?
Yeah, the biggest struggle was...
You moved in before you married, correct? Or did you marry? Yes.
Yeah, we moved in. So...
we found your place in Santa Rosa with an ADU.
Correct. Yeah, so we had to bring my mom down from Coeur d'Alene. So we got all that stuff figured out. But yeah, I mean... the biggest challenge at the beginning was me being a step parent, and it was a huge shift for Avery. She basically just had mom her whole life, so her dad's not in the picture.
Yeah.
So I'm dad. Like I am dad.
But still young enough to take you on as a father figure, and
that's where we've evolved to now.
Yeah.
Like I was Mike for a long time.
Yeah.
And when really it changed when Bodie came into the picture, but I'm dad. Like she doesn't know.
Do you remember the first time she called you dad?
I don't remember like the day, but yes, I remember
it's a big one.
And she almost, it was interesting because Sam and I talk about it. It was almost like she was testing the waters.
Yeah.
Like she said dad, but was like in a way where she was like,
dad?
Yes, like apprehensive.
Question mark on the back of it.
So we moved in, we bought the place, got my mom into my granny unit. And then her and I had talked, and she always wanted another child, and I've always wanted a family, and I will always view Avery as my daughter. She's my daughter, not biologically, but that's okay.
Yeah.
But we wanted a family. We wanted to grow the family. And so we made the decision. Her and I were both like, you know, we both had been in marriages before that didn't work out. And I'm like, you know what? A marriage is just a piece of fucking paper that says that you're married. Like commitment to me is I'm committing. I'm sitting here looking you in the eyes. I'm committing to you, right? And so we had talked about, you know, growing the family, and she was on board. I was on board. The timing was right. We had the space, like, you know, and We got really lucky. We got very, very fortunate. We knocked it out of the park on the first try. So first month off the pill, we're pregnant. Which I think, I think
it's not everyone's experience.
Oh no, and I do. I feel really bad for the people that struggle, and I have a lot of friends that have struggled. But I look at her and I both say, definitely my sister was up there looking down because she knows how fucking impatient I am.
Yeah.
And she knows that if it didn't happen on the first try,
you'd be in your own
I would.
head. Totally.
So I believe in that. I believe that there was some help from
magic
there.
Yeah.
So we got pregnant, and then I decided. I was like, then I went back on the original conversation we had about we don't need to be married, and I went. And I'm like, you know what? We have a child together. I'm going to be with you at this point. We are connected, we are bonded, we are growing our family. And so I made the decision and didn't, even really talk to her about it. I just, I just knew what was going to happen.
To propose.
Yeah. And my best friend, a little plug in for Mark Allen Jewelers downtown Santa Rosa. And my best friend and his dad own it. So I walked in and actually I text him. I'm like, hey, I'm in for a ring.
Yeah.
It's funny. So we didn't tell anybody about the pregnancy at the beginning. So I text he's been my best friend since 4th grade. I text him, hey, I'm coming in, I need to get a ring. His immediate text back, you knock her up?
Forced play. Yeah.
And I was like, yes, but that's not the reason.
Yeah.
I just want to, right? Yeah. This is what we're doing. And so I went in, picked a ring out, and actually proposed to her in the car, sitting in front of Catelli's. Yeah. Because that's our spot. It was our first date.
Yeah.
And then we wanted to be married before the baby came. So baby was due in May.
Yeah.
So it was pretty quick. I proposed in November. We planned we wanted a very small, simple. I think you guys have seen the pictures.
Yeah.
San Francisco City Hall. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful location and venue. So it was small. It was her mom and dad, her 2 sisters, her brother-in-law, my mom, my dad, and then my best friend Nate and his wife and their two kids, and then Avery was there as well. So it was very, very small, and they crank you out. They have literally a wedding every
I've been in there
20
before.
minutes.
Yeah.
And so we got beautiful pictures. We had our day, and
baby came later.
Baby came in May 28th, scheduled C-section because she can't, because of her spine, she can't have they can't get the needle into her spine. So she has to be general anesthesia, knocked out completely.
Fairy tale ending, dude.
And
hell of 3 years.
And the baby piece was my life is completely different now.
Yeah.
You have kids. The second that baby comes out, my life is completely different. My
about
priorities
you anymore,
are different. Everything is different.
Yeah.
And I will say, I spent so much time, and I, the other thing I'll say is I'm glad that I waited till now to have a child.
Yeah, I was happy with me doing it later in life
because
as well.
I know if I would have done it in my 20s or even probably my early 30s, I think I would have figured it out, but I think I would have been a shitty dad.
I would have been way more self-centered.
Yeah,
and I still work on that.
Yeah,
right.
Same.
Being self-centered, but I can't imagine my 20s.
Same. Yeah. No. So I waited, and Bodhi has been the best thing for me ever. She's slowed my life down. She's helped me reprioritize family. Yeah. And I don't think I even told you this yet, but we're going for number 3.
Oh, no way, man.
Yeah,
congrats.
Next month we're gonna
good for you.
We're gonna shoot our shots.
Good for you, man. So, I hope it happens quickly again.
Yeah. And at this point, if it doesn't, it's okay. But we're talking about it. And
you got no pressure.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you got 2 at home, and another one comes great.
And the age gap, so Avery will be 8, 3 days before Bodhi turns 1. Yeah. The age gap there is big enough, and she's so helpful. And so we want Bodhi. We don't want the. It would almost feel like 2 only childs. Avery was an only child because she's on the older side, and then Bodhi's going to be because Avery will be gone at some point. So we want to have another so that Bodhi and the other one can be closer in age, and we're like. Okay, well, I'm not getting any younger. I'm already going to be 60 at high school graduation.
I'm missing it by 2 weeks, dude. I just got underneath.
So,
well, good. I'm going to be waiting for that call for the bigger house then, dude. That's coming too then. You put another one in the mix, buddy.
We have used every square inch of our house.
Totally. So. Well, congratulations.
Yeah, thanks.
So we're going to tie it all together. I always ask this last question. In 20 years for you, 25 years.
Yeah.
Looking back at your life, right? You and your wife are sitting on a beach in Tahoe. Yeah. You're reflecting on everything. What is going to define success to you in that moment?
So I thought about this when you sent me this yesterday. I thought about this a lot. And I've been thinking about it, obviously, as I get older. But to me, it's 3 parts. There's my career piece of it, right? And the definition of success there. There's the family, right? My daughters. And there's the financial, right? There's the financial side of it. And so I'll talk about all 3. And I'll start with the career. I lost 2 of my mentors. I didn't lose them, I didn't die, but I lost 2 of my mentors to retirement this last year. And we did it. We did a huge production at our national sales meeting. So there's 200 people there. And listening to the things that people said about these 2 human beings, wonderful human beings, brought me to tears. And in that moment, I literally said, that's what I want from a career standpoint. I want to have an impact on people's lives. And I know that I already am, because I'm getting feedback from people. I'm helping people progress in their careers and things like that already. So I know I'm getting there, but like that to me from a career standpoint, I want to have that impact. I want to have that positive impact that I was lucky enough to get from my mentors. I want to be able to pass that on. So that's the career piece of it, is that positive impact. And then from a family standpoint, I want to raise. I've always said when I was going to be before I was a father, but now that I am, I want to raise good human beings, right? It's very simple. It's probably oversimplified, but I want to raise good human beings. There's a lot of shitty people in this world, right? And I feel like we need to procreate and create better human beings that are going to make this world better down the road. And so, I want my kids to have a good life. Right. So when I'm whatever it is, 70, they're going to be in their 20s and 30s and whatever it is. Like, I want them to have a good life. I want them to have a good work ethic. I want them to, figure out where they fit in the world and what their career path is going to be. I want them to be happy. Like, again, oversimplified. I want my daughters to be happy. The finance side of things, like it's funny, when you're younger, you're like, I want all of these things. I want the giant house and the sports car and the this and the that. And I'm simple. Like I told you, like I have a number. Like I would love to be retired at 60 or whenever I can hit that number. And so from a finance standpoint, Sam and I talk about it. It's like, I don't need all the things at that point. We're going to be downsizing. I'm going to want less. And we talk about getting like a cool Mercedes Sprinter van that's decked out and jumping in and going, and the girls will be off in their lives doing their thing and go travel around the country. And so I want to have enough money to enjoy life. Yeah. Right. And I want to have enough money to enjoy those years where you actually can do things. Right. It's like, if I can retire at 60, you got 60 to 80 is like that's your prime time to be doing some of that stuff. Once you get to 80, right, you slow way down. And I've watched my grandparents, that happened with my grandparents, but yeah, I don't need a ton. I just, I don't need all the things, I mean, you and I have talked about it. Like, I like nice things. I like nice cars. I like nice vacations. Yeah. I like to stay at the Four Seasons and the Rosewood and those type of places. But, I'm doing that as I'm working now. Right. I'm giving those experiences to my daughters. I don't necessarily need that when I'm retired. Like I'm okay with waking up. So rambling a little bit, but I took a month off when Bodie was born. It was amazing. Yeah. Slow mornings, wake up with my wife, have a cup of coffee in bed, talk, hang out, go outside, go for walks, work out. That very simple. Like I don't need more. I don't need more than that.
No, most people don't.
Yeah.
You need to be able to go in a restaurant and not worry about what you're ordering on the menu and be able to take a trip, and everything else in between is like whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, those are all great things. It's been great having you in, buddy.
Thanks, dude.
I couldn't be happier for you in your career, in your personal life, just watching the growth since I've probably known you since 2013, 2014. So it's been probably 10, 11 years.
It's funny. We drove by, we were just driving down Pedal Boulevard, just Sam and I the other day, and the old 38 North is vacant again.
Yeah, the arched windows.
And I was like, oh, it's vacant again.
Yeah,
I'm like, that used to be my CrossFit gym.
Yeah.
And I think it was. I think it was probably back in 2000. When did you open 14.
It? I opened it in 2000. That's a good question. 10? No, is that right? That's incorrect. End of 11, right at 12. So end of 11.
So I was probably 13 then.
Yeah.
I came in around 2013 because I was one of the, with Billy, the connection with Billy. I've known Billy since
tie-dye tank top, big old dude walking through the doors. I remember.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It was great having you part of that community.
Yeah.
It's been great also keeping in touch with you. It's always a conversation that I look forward to when you call. And I just couldn't be prouder of you in the direction you've taken and the family that you're now a part of, man.
Yeah.
I'm stoked.
Yeah. No, I appreciate it. It's I know you're trying to end this thing, but I'm just going to drag this thing on. One of the things that I think about, and I really wanted to make a point of it when I talk through this, and I didn't get a chance to, and I talk about it with my nephews. I have a 21-year-old nephew and I have a 18-year-old nephew, and one of the things that I see is people wanting, the younger generation, they want things, right? They want a house, they want a car, they want a nicer car. And again, I'm going to oversimplify it, but it's then work fucking harder. Mm-hmm. What's the term? The harder you work, the luckier you get.
Yeah.
Right. That's what I tell my 21-year-old nephew. He's like, I want to buy a new Duramax diesel. I'm like, okay, it's a $100,000 pickup truck. You better work your fucking ass off.
Yeah.
You might have to take 2 jobs. You might have to take 3. You might have to, whatever you got to do. You got to network. But I don't like that. I grew up in a generation where it's like, if you want something, it's there. Right? Like nothing's going to be, there's no handouts. So that is one thing. It's like, you gotta work your ass off, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
You gotta work harder.
So if you're going in for an interview with this man, work fucking harder.
Work harder.
That's the goal.
That's what it is. It's all out there. Just work harder.
Good. That's a good way to end it. And push off that $100,000 diesel, take that money and invest it, and then make some money, then buy it a little bit later. Don't buy it at 21.
Yeah.
All right, buddy. Hey, great having you in. Thanks for taking the time.
Yeah.
All right.
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah.